Cloud computing is like renting resources. Resources like storage or CPU cycles. You only pay for what you use. The company providing these services is referred to as cloud provider, and the user is called cloud user. The examples of cloud providers are Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, and cloud users are people like you and me and organizations. The cloud provider is responsible for all the physical infrastructure, like the physical hardware, and they are also responsible for the hardware that's required to execute your work and keeping it up to date with patches and antiviruses. The computing services offered tend to vary by the cloud provider. Mostly they include compute power, such as Linux or web applications. They also include storage, such as files and databases, networking components as to how secure connections can be established between a cloud provider and your company, and also analytics of compute, storage, and network so that you get a visual telemetry and performance data. The goal of cloud computing is to make running a business easier and more efficient, whether it's a startup or a large enterprise. Every business is unique and has different needs. To meet those needs, cloud computing provides a wide range of services. We need to have a basic understanding of some of the services that it provides. Let's discuss about compute power and storage. What is compute power? When you send an email or do certain activities on the internet like booking a reservation or paying an online bill, you will be interacting with the cloud-based servers or the servers that are located somewhere else, and you are communicating with those servers just with a browser and your computer. As a consumer, we are all dependent on computing services provided by various cloud providers that make up the internet. When you build solutions using cloud computing, you can choose how you want the work to be done based on the resources and needs. For example, you may want to have more control and responsibility over maintenance, so you create a virtual machine. A virtual machine is an emulation of your computer. That means everything is virtual and in the form of a file. The hard disk, CPU, memory, and all other components that comprises of a machine will be in the form of a file, and hence the term virtual. Just like your desktop and laptop, the virtual machines will be able to provide you the necessary services, giving optimum performance. Each virtual machine includes an operating system, and hence it also includes a hardware that appears to the user like a physical computer running a Windows or a Linux operating system. You can install whatever you want, like a software that will be necessary to run the tasks that you probably want to run in the cloud. The difference is that you do not have to buy any hardware or install the operating system. The cloud provider will run that virtual server for you on a physical server in one of their data centers. And they will be often shared with some other servers, probably isolated and secure. With cloud, you can have a VM ready to go in minutes at less cost than a physical computer. Virtual machines are not the only computing choice. There are other popular options as well. That means if you want to host a web application, virtual machine is not the only choice. There are other choices as well, like containers and serverless computing. Let's look at this picture and understand the differences between containers and serverless designs of the applications. What is a container? A container provides a consistent, isolated execution environment for the applications. They are similar to virtual machines, except that they do not require a guest operating system. Instead, the application and all its dependencies is packaged into a container, and then a standard runtime environment is used to execute the application. This will allow the container to start up in just few seconds because there is no overhead of the operating system to boot and initialize. You only need the application to launch. One of the first pioneers of such projects was Docker. This is an open source project. Docker is one of the leading platforms for managing containers. Docker containers provide an efficient, lightweight approach to application deployment because they allow different components of the application to be deployed independently in different containers. So what are serverless computings? Serverless computing will let you run application code without you creating and maintaining and configuring a server. The core idea is that your application is broken into separate functions that run when triggered by some action. This is ideal for automated tasks, such as you can build a serverless process that automatically sends an email confirmation after a customer makes an online purchase. The serverless model differs from virtual machines and containers in that you can only pay for the processing time used by each function and then it executes itself. Virtual machines and containers are charged when they are running, even if the applications are idle. So this architecture does not work for every application. But when the app logic can be separated to independent units, you can test them separately, update them separately, and launch them in microseconds, and making this approach the fastest option for the deployment.